Hello. Good afternoon. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you, bro. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jay Richards. I'm one of the co-founders at Imagine Insights. Firstly, thanks to Web Summit for having me. I was a last-minute trade-in, but it's all good. Don't worry, I don't feel emotional about it. As I said, my name is Jay Richards, one of the co-founders at Imagine Insights. And our mission is to help Gen Z to shape their future. Realistically, we know this is best done with brands, because brands are shaping countries and culture like our lovely government only wish they could do. So what we do is we enable brands to crowdsource qualitative and quantitative insight from our community. We have a community of over 36,000 Gen Z in 111 countries around the world. They are 60% female, 25% Asian, 15% black, 20% low income, 20% LGBT plus, and 2% registered disabled. So they're actually diverse, which is always a good start, right? And from a markets perspective, our main markets are the US, UK, Spain, Germany, France, all across the rest of America, across Latin America and Asia. We're very strong in America. We're very strong in Europe, which is wonderful. These are our clients, the obligatory slide that everybody has. I just wanted to show off a little, but you know what I mean? Don't stay on that for too long. But that's enough about us. You didn't come to hear about Imagine Insights. You came to hear about Gen Z and Generation Alpha. So I'm going to start off with Gen Z. The first thing to understand is the age demographics. So depending who you ask, you ask the Americans, it's one thing, ask the Australians, it's another thing. But I would say that they are aged between 14 all the way through up to 27, 28 years old. And there's three overarching characteristics amongst them. So the first thing is that they are change makers or they are activists. There's my clock. Perfect. I was getting nervous. There was no time up here. I was like, I don't know how long I've got. So the first thing is that they're activists, they are change makers. So I'm going to pick on millennials because I'm a millennial and you can't tell me off. But with millennials, we would say that we're activists. But at the same time, I'm still going to buy an expensive coat that's probably not good for the environment. It's probably going to help do a whole bunch of stuff to a whole bunch of animals that we don't want to talk about. So I care, but do I really care? But with Gen Z, they're normally the ones leading the charge. So when you look at Black Lives Matter, or you look at the fight for gender equality, or anything with regards to sustainability, it's normally Gen Z leading the charge because they genuinely care. The second thing is that they are co-creators. So again, millennials, I would be like, if I'm a millennial, I'm like, interview me, put me on the podcast, ask me about what I do. I'm amazing, I'm important, look what I've built. But with Gen Z, they just want to create cool things with cool people. Good example of this is TikTok. If you go onto TikTok, the best videos that do well are ones where community members have basically taken one video and then they add an extra video on top of it and add an extra video on top of it and they build that video together. And that's what they love to do, just co-create cool things with cool people. And then the last thing to mention is that the digital natives. You'd have heard this one before. Basically, it means they grew up with technology. Remember that first phone that ever came out that had like a rolly camera on top? And it was like really cool. And I remember begging my mum to buy it and she was not today, you're not having it. But I found a way to buy it. And I had the rolling camera and I was gassed. 1 megapixel camera, which was wonderful. But with these guys, they grew up with technology. They know about software updates. They know this is just ingrained to who they are. And then the last thing I want to mention is that their spending power is going to increase to $33 trillion by 2030. That's a massive amount of money and something to pay attention to. He clicks. Guys, you've abandoned me. Anybody? So the next slide will come up in No, not too far. Okay, perfect, wonderful, appreciate you. Wait, is that the right slide? Yes, it is. All right, cool. Common misconceptions. Guys, I was panicking then, you know what I mean? I was starting to get flustered. You know what I mean? These sweat patches on my back, no jokes. So common misconceptions. So obviously we understand who Gen Z are, but let's understand what are the misconceptions around them. The first one is that they're too young to be spending. We always hear this. We're like, oh no, they're like 5 years old. They're not going to be spending anything. They're already spending. They're already buying your products. 64% of our community in 111 countries are already buying luxury products. They're saving up. We did some work with Chanel the other day, and they're actually saving up to buy these luxury products already. They're already spending and purchasing your products. The second misconception is that they're outspoken on everything. And the reason why this is a misconception is because if we're going onto social media, like I said earlier, they're the ones leading the charge. But when we look at the data, every personal Gen Z will normally have 2 or 3 common things that they really, really care about. There'll be 2 or 3 like campaigns or sustainability, whatever it may be, that they really, really care about. And those are the things that are ingrained and core to their being. But then, because of social media, they can speak on everything. So they will speak on other things, but there's 2 or 3 things that are core to who they are. And that can be misconstrued because people think, oh, they just care about everything. It's not that. They have 2 or 3 core elements. And that's actually a good lesson for brands. If you're a brand trying to engage with this demographic, sometimes it feels a little bit bad because you're like, we care about certain things, but at the same time, we don't want to just talk about everything that's going on. Say, for example, Black Lives Matter, everybody posted a black square, and then suddenly, black people didn't matter anymore, and it wasn't any more black squares, and everybody just kind of stopped talking about it. But I get why you did it, because it wasn't core to who that brand was. And the key thing is, as a brand, if you're going to get behind something, choose 2 or 3 causes and be like, these are our causes that we're going to get behind. Third thing is they're all environmentally conscious. And the funny one about this is everybody's like, if they're all environmentally conscious, why are they buying fast fashion? Because they're broke. And their values are here and their spending power is here. But as that increases, their spending power will match up with their values. And if you're a sustainable brand and you want to engage this demographic, by the time their spending power increases, you best be the one that's doing sustainable stuff, which is wonderful. Second to last, I'm smashing through these. Second to last, they love polish social media. They don't. With millennials, again, I can pick on us. With millennials, I'm going to post once a year on Instagram, and that one time you see me post is when I'm on holiday. And you're going to see me, and I'm going to be on the beach in my bikini, and you'll be like, wow, Jay looks wonderful. And then I'm not posting again until next year. And then you'll be like, he only ever goes on holiday. Lies. I only go on once a year. With Gen Z, they're not like that. They just want to create content. They're on TikTok with the snot bubbles and the acne, and they're there just living their best lives, just being their authentic selves. They don't love polished social media. And then the last one is they can be easily grouped into one demographic. And I always leave this till the end because I've basically just done that this entire presentation so far. But we can't, no generation is a monolith. You have to understand about how to engage with communities, engage with human beings, because not every single Gen Z is the same. Wonderful. Let's go on to it. Trends, metaverse and Web3 technologies. The one thing I want to point out on this one is actually that 95% of our community said that IRL interactions are most important to them. What we've heard over the last few years is that Gen Z just want to spend times in the cupboard. They just want to put on VR and AR and never leave the house. That's not true. From when we look at the data, specifically after coming out of the pandemic, Gen Z just want to spend time with other Gen Z. They just want to spend time with people. The massive rise in Gen Z spending time with their grandparents over the pandemic has continued. They just want to spend time with people having experience. So Web3 and AR and VR is all super important, and it has its place, but Gen Z really want to be in the real world. I'm sorry, Mark Zuckerberg, I know that's not what you want to hear, but the game's the game, you know what I mean? 72% of them don't own a VR or AR headset or anything like that. These guys, they like it, it's an idea, but still at the same time, it's like, I think it has its place in education, or it has its place in training, but not necessarily in my real life. All right, cool. So how can we listen to Gen Z to help us future-proof for the future for everybody else? How Gen Z want to be marketed to. So the first thing on this is conversation. A lot of time with a brand. So imagine I'm having a party at my house. I live in East London, so it's a bit of a vibe, whatever. So I'm having a party at my house. I'm like, yo, everybody come over. All of you. There's a lot of people in here, by the way. Shout out. Everyone comes over to my apartment. I lock the door, and you're like, this is a bit intense. I lock the door, and as I lock the door, I get out a megaphone, and I just scream in your face. You'd be like, Jay's not a vibe. I'm never coming back. That's kind of what we do as brands. We're like, everybody follow us on social media. And then we just scream what we're saying at these people. We're just like, look at what we're doing. We're saving trees, or so on and so on. And you're doing this stuff, and it comes across a bit intense. Gen Z don't want that. They want to be in a conversation. If you're on socials, engaging with them, talk to them. A good example of this is Ryanair. A friend of mine just left Ryanair. He was the head of marketing over there. And he did a great job of engaging in the comments with Gen Z because they want to converse with you. Or you can use a platform like ours to do that, whatever, plug. Collaboration. Good example of collaboration is when you're saying, actually, okay, we're trying to build great content. We're trying to do great things. Let's collaborate with the consumers that we actually want to do these things for. I know, imagine, shock horror. Imagine we did that. Engaging with them. What type of content do you want to see from us? We are X brand, not X as in the Twitter, you know what I mean. We are X brand. Elon's ruined that for me. We are Y brand. And as Y brand, how do you want us to engage with you? That's collaboration. And the last thing is transparency. Hey, guys, we dropped the ball. We burned down 1 billion trees in this country. This is how we did it. I know I'm going like to the nth degree, but we did a massive mistake. We've made an error, and this is how we're going to fix it. Imagine if a brand did that. It would be chaos. But that's what they want to see. They want you to be completely transparent. And if you're not transparent, they're just going to Google it. You know what I mean? They've got ChatGPT. They're going to ask ChatGPT, did they burn down 1 billion trees? Yes, they did. Shock horror. I'm never going to buy from that brand again. But if you're transparent, you circumvent all of that. So a brand that's doing it well, as I said, we're smashing through these. Brand that's doing it well is actually a brand called Stitch from back home. So these are based in London. The main reason why I love them is I'm with my son. So my son's 16. Don't try and do the maths. I know I look too young to have a 16-year-old. I have a great skincare regime. But anyway, so I'm with my son. He's like, Dad, I want to go buy these jeans. I'm like, cool. He's like, we need to go camp outside the shop. I was like, bro, my back. What do you mean need to camp outside the shop? He's like, 48 hours camping outside the shop to get these products. I was like, or you camp and I'll see you on the day that the shop opens. So he camped outside the shop with his boys. They sat outside it. They're all camping to go buy these products. But the reason why he wanted to do it is because he'd met randos online that were also going to do the same. So he wanted to join them and do that. And one thing I love about this brand is that they are building community first. They genuinely care about their community. They're engaging in the comments, and they're inviting everybody to come in and get involved with them, which is lovely. Second thing is that they're leaning into hype culture. It's not cheesy for them. They're like, you know what? We've created a hype, we've created a buzz, so we're going to lean into it. We're going to engage with that community. We're going to make them feel excited about what we are building. And then the last thing is they're not afraid to live in the niche. I'm not going to lie, I'm never going to wear these clothes because they're weird and my outfits are already phenomenal. But I'm never going to wear these clothes because I don't want anime on my clothes. But these guys are not nervous about it. Remember when you were kids and there was like people in school that would play like Warhammer and they'd have these little toys and they would play like on lunchtime and I'd never walk into that room because it always smelled really weird. But they would, that was not, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Sorry, apologies guys. Okay. But they would play Warhammer and they would do all of these things and they'd be hanging out. They've got a niche. And now you can have your own niche. You can have your own community that you truly care about, and you can engage with them. And that's one thing I love about this brand. They lent into that niche. We create anime jeans for teenagers, and they've just lent into that, which is wonderful. All right, Curveball. Again, I'm smashing through this. I'm speaking at rapid speed. My team have they've messed me up here. They've put too many slides on this, but it's fine. Whatever. We've spoken about Gen Z. Let's talk about Generation Alpha. Who the hell are these lot? So, first thing is that they are currently aged under 8 years old. Funny thing is, I don't know why we started demographics at the end of the alphabet. It was X, Y, Z. Oh my God, we've run out of letters. Of course we've run out of letters. Why did you start at X? Anyway, also, who would want to be part of Generation Beta? Imagine that. It's like, oh, your children's from Generation Beta. That's so cute. Nobody wants to be a beta. Anyway, 2.8 million of them being born every single year. Kind of terrifies me because I'm thinking they're going to come for my stuff. But they're the most diverse generation in history. Short fact, if you Google what everybody's going to look like in 2050, they're basically going to look like me. So get used to this face. Pretty much everybody's going to be mixed race. What's happening is there's a massive movement of everybody moving to the cities, and Generation Alpha are the most diverse generation in history. It's a prime example of what's going to happen over the next couple of decades. Second to last thing is 65% of them are going to be doing a job that doesn't exist yet. Remember when you tried to explain to somebody what social media manager was like 20 years ago or 15 years ago, and your grandma would be like, what the hell is that? You do not get paid to post on Facebook. That's not a real job. Go get a real job. Gen Z are going to be doing that and explaining it to us. They're going to be like, I do prompt AI for Gen A. I'm like, bruv, I don't know what you're talking about, but sounds great. But that's them. Their jobs don't exist yet. The last one is that 2 billion of them by 2025. And let's play this bad boy, and then we're nearly done. Ooh. It comes from these guys. Let's go.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. It's me, Ella. Well, a digital version of me. Just a bit older. Amazing what technology can do these days, isn't it? All you need are a couple of pictures, like the ones you share on social media, where they can be taken and used by everybody. I know, for you, these pictures are just memories. But for others, they are data. And for me, maybe the beginning of a horrible future. A future where my identity can be stolen just like that. Where I can go to prison for things that I would never do. Imagine my credit score being destroyed, Dad. Or my voice copied to scam you, Mom.
Mom, I'm in trouble.
I need you to send me money, please. I don't want to become a meme, humiliated by everyone at school.
Kill yourself, you fucking loser.
And I certainly don't want this. What you share online is like a digital footprint that will follow me around for the rest of my life. I'm telling you this because I know you love me and would never do anything to harm me. So please, Mom. Please, Dad. Protect my virtual privacy.
Well, that got dark, didn't it? Oh, God. I love how everything's like, he's so funny, and then I played that, and everyone's like, Jesus Christ. So, a couple of months ago, and I've only got 2 minutes left, so I'm trying to smash through this, but also it's lunch next, so you can't leave, so it's fine. There's nothing after this. But I will finish on time. So, I'm in the shower the other day. It's about 2 months ago. I know, too much information. But while I'm in the shower, I'm thinking to myself, it's funny, because I just realized that Generation Alpha are going to be the first generation. Look, everybody heard lunch and bolted. Generation Alpha are going to be the first generation to grow up with parents as influencers. And that really, really then made me think. And then I discovered this content from T-Mobile. And then I began to really just sit there and ruminate on that and then try to just do some research around it. And what I initially then realized was these folks, these people that you see on the screen, these were our first examples of what being a celebrity as a child can do to someone's psyche, what that can do to them as a human being. And one of the things that we see that these folks have in common is that, yes, they were childhood celebrities, but it's the trauma and the problems that caused at an older age. And what I began to realize was what we see with these people on the screen, we're now seeing at scale with Generation Alpha. Because what you're seeing is you see in that video, as parents, and I get it, we all do it, I have a 16-year-old, we post them on socials, and it's just I'm just posting you, I'm not trying to do anything, but I'm just posting you. But we're not realizing what that could potentially do in the future. And I think one of the interesting things around all of this is actually what I'm seeing specifically with my friends who are influencer parents or whatever, and they video their kids from birth. And when I was in Georgia recently, not Atlanta, Georgia, Georgia as in the country, and when I was in Georgia, the country's about 30 years old, and I began to realize that so many of these Georgians knew these children as influencers, and these children had no idea who these human beings were. And I was out with a group of friends, and we were walking, and somebody came up to their child and was like, oh my God, how are you? Speaking to the child like they knew them. The child's like, yo, move back for I chin you. But it was you could see this look in his child's face, wait, how do you know me? Because we've broken that barrier down. And I've got a few predictions around this as I finish up, and I think it's something that I think we should think about and focus on is what we're doing with socials. How is that going to affect in the future? Because to tell the truth, we've never had social media before, so you don't know what it's going to do. And some of my predictions are, the first thing is actually, I'm going to jumble up this order, but the first thing as I'm finishing is children, Generation Alpha are going to start suing their parents. I know it sounds like a wild idea, but the examples I give are the examples of the celebrities I just used on screen. Pretty much most of them, and most childhood celebrities, have sued their parents, and I think that's going to happen at scale. The second thing is constant phone camera use. What we're seeing with Generation Alpha, when we're in the restaurant and you see mum and dad on the phone and you see the little one on the iPad, I get why we do it. What's going to happen is they're going to get older and go, wait, I'm seeing what this is doing to my parents' mental health. Why should I be doing this? So say, for example, my mum needs a therapist. My mum and dad are wonderful people, but they both need therapists. But I have a therapist, so I'm dealing with what they should have dealt with when they were younger. Generation Alpha are going to see how we're dealing with social media from a mental perspective, and they're going to take a step back and go, wait, is this what I want for my life? So we're going to see a lot of them pulling away from social media and pulling away from that content. But at the same time, there's going to be this turmoil and this stress between them, simply for the fact that they're addicted to the dopamine. Do you know what I mean? That dopamine has created a groove in their minds. More Peppa Pig, more Peppa Pig. So it's created that groove in the mind. If you ever tried to take an iPad from a child, it's a scary situation. But that's what we're going to see. We're going to see them having to fight against that dopamine hit at the same time wanting to look after their mental health. And as I finish up, I think I'm not trying to scare anybody, but what I'm trying to encourage us to do is, as brands, as leaders, as we're building these amazing companies, is just to think, as we're building that, whatever the next step is, I'm using this as like an out there example, but let's just think, what we're building, is this good for the next generation? Is this good for the younger ones that come behind us? I appreciate you guys. Here are my details. Connect with me. Ooh, everyone's taking photos. Woohoo! Connect with me. Let's be friends on LinkedIn. Let's hang out sometime. Can somebody take a video of the room? Because there's a lot of you in here. And then just feel free to DM it. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you very much. I'm sorry that I went over time. Goodbye. God bless.